Hello everybody, welcome to SketchCraft Live, and this is Sketches at Breakfast. I'm Rob Duenas. It's a busy day, so let's do some figure drawing. I've done some silhouettes that I've blobbed in digitally and printed them out, low res. It's just cheap 3-hole drill paper. You don't have to use, I like to draw in silhouettes. I can freehand and figure sketches out, but I like to develop poses and blobs of paint. You don't need Photoshop though to do this. You can use markers, you can lightboard silhouettes, kind of work them out. That's actually what I used to use Sharpies, and then I would put it on a lightboard or even a piece of paper and trace over the silhouette. In this case, I've just blobbed in some ideas, and we're going to do 3 or 4, maybe 6 of these. Well, we'll see how far we get. And this helps just, one, I can work on some poses. 2, it's really good just to help build, form, keep you centered a little bit. It's a good warm up too. I'll go ahead and make these poses available. There'll be a link to download. I'll put them in the links below or add a link here. So if you want to mess around with the silhouettes, try them out, see what you can do, you're welcome to. So as you can see, this is really not much here. It helps to be able to see into shapes. It helps to be able to, I can see the foreshortening. I can see where everything needs to go. So I'm just going to use a mechanical pencil and a Sharpie here. And I'm not drawing any specific character. I'm just drawing a pose. I'm just going to work out a basic head, torso, body shape, arms, work it out topographically. Then you can use these poses later on if you want to make that pose into a Wonder Woman, or you want to make the pose into, She-Hulk, or later on we got a big dude, we got Hulks. Whatever you want to do, you can reuse the poses. So here we go. So work out the center line, kind of figure out where the rib cage is here. And this is shape driven. It helps to have an understanding of, it's a basic understanding of anatomy to know where these shapes go. When I was a kid, I used to see these books like How to Draw the Marvel, the Comics Way, and they'd always start with like a stick figure where you take a stick figure and a spline and you build shapes on top. I had the hardest time with that. Finally, I grabbed a marker one day and I just was looking at the marker and I'm like, I could kind of see like a robot in there. So I put a piece of paper, tracing paper, over it and would trace over it. Eventually, I figured out what a light board was. These days you have Photoshop, you could scan it in. And for me, it's a lot easier. And this silhouette's a guide. It's not a end point, it's a beginning point. So I'm just sort of using it to keep myself grounded. And we'll be doing more videos on like silhouette drawing. So if you want to hang out with that and kind of get a sense. Feel free to play with different body types too. Not everyone has to be, built like a pro athlete, right? They can be different body types. Go here quickly, just use a kneaded eraser. And I have a couple sheets of paper, just blank paper, just to soften it up because I'm drawing on a wood table and it can be a little rough. So if your table's a little too hard and it's kind of hurting your hands, just put a couple pieces of paper underneath. So when I'm drawing, I like a little softer, but when I'm inking, I like to not use as much. Just using a Sharpie pen here. That's not the best hand in the world, but you know, you get the idea. Yeah, you want to think of your characters. I like to think of my characters as little three-dimensional figures like toys or statues, or even 3D models if it helps, you know. So it doesn't really matter if they have weird proportions or realistic proportions. They're all broken down into construction shapes. So if some ends up feeling a little flat, then that's the way it came out. It wasn't because you didn't understand, right? The construction of it. Sometimes things just look flat. It's the way life is. But we drew it three-dimensionally. Don't cheat yourself. I'm sorry, I'm used to drawing more this way, the way the camera used to be set up, so pretty easy. Yeah, that's one. So let's move on to the next. More of a bulkier type. So again, I'm not following the silhouette 100%, right? It's really a good guide. I don't know if people would jump with their hands open, but in this case, why not? This is red mechanical lead. It's Pentel. It's cheap. And there's no photo reference here. I'm just in my imagination. It's in my head, right? So it's trying to take the idea of the shapes that I know exist over years of drawing and practicing figures and construction, and then drawing into basic shapes. That arm came out a little weird, but we'll see what we can do to fix it. This, some days I'm in the mood for a Sharpie, some days I'm more of a ballpoint pen kind of guy. It happens. Don't press hard. Try to pull back. Don't strain on your hand. It will catch up with you one day. I used to. I ended up with carpal tunnel. For all the young artists out there, you're young for a point in your life. Then you got the rest of it to be old. So save yourself some wear and tear. There's a nice big party going on outside my house, by the way. So if you hear any of the music, yeah. Hopefully I don't get DMCA'd. Try not to lean over to the left. Cool part about silhouettes is they'll allow you to arrive at poses you may not have just, thought of naturally or inclined to draw. Come here and kind of work out the construction of it. And I did a lot of 2D animation my first couple years in college, hand drawn. And this is all I ever did. Everything was animated like this. We didn't even get into like breaking toes up into little bits. It was all a matter of moving these around. And then once it was moving, then you would go and add parts. So, on a second pass, I could come in there and really work out the fingers and break them up, use some of my hand reference and make a cool pose. Art, for some people is something that they just magically do perfectly the first time. For everyone else, it's an iteration, you know. So that's two. One and two. Where are we at? 20 minutes? We got time for another one? Yeah, we got time for another one. Let's try this one. something a little bit more. One, two, three. What time is it? 27 minutes? I think we got time for one more, right? We'll make it an even 4. Now we do 2 girl poses. Why don't we get another guy pose? Let's try something a little bit more lankier. Kind of a daredevil-y type or something. eraser doesn't do much with the red lead as much, but at least lightens it up a little bit. It's not all over the place. Hey, thanks, Marcus. That pen's a little weird. It's getting a little weird on me. Maybe I have an extra pen. I have an extra pen lying around. Yeah, this is a 1.0. No. I need like a 0.03. Or I mean a 0.3, sorry. 0.1's a little large. But you know, whether I'm drawing digitally or traditionally, the process is preferably the same. You know, silhouette, construction, details over construction. I try to keep that consistent across the board. You know, and working at places, it made it difficult because they would be like, we don't have a photocopier, we don't have a printer. I'd get the art departments have to buy my own printer, you know, buy my own scanner. People would just sit down there drawing everything perfect in one shot. It's been all day working one drawing, and it's like I could get 10, 15 of these down because I would work in this process, and it would throw artists off, you know, like, you know, oh, I don't know, man. He has to have a scanner. He has to. I'm like, I don't even fucking give a shit. You know what I mean? Like, I spent a long time trying to do it their way, you know, and I don't sit here and play to other people's strengths, you know. I play to my strengths. And I like to work in iteration, focusing on one thing, turning it into another. You know, and if that makes me less of an artist, then that's fine. I'm less of an artist. You know, you can't be the best. You can be good, but you can't be the best. There is no the best. So whatever. I could easily turn this into a Deadpool or a Nightwing. You could even change the arm over here so he's holding a giant gun, or he's got a sword out. You could even take this where, you can flip the arms around. This should be fun, folks. You know? It shouldn't be like every time you go to the paper or the canvas, you're like, oh my God, oh my God, I gotta fucking draw the greatest ever, I suck. So this should be fun. And if the way you're drawing is not a fun process, if it's not achieving the results, and it's also not providing some level of fun, then you gotta change it. Like, sitting around drawing little stick figures and building shapes on top is not fun for me. So, and it took a lot of years for me to go like, can I actually show people that I do this? Well, I get shit for this? And I'm like, well, what do I care what people if I get shit for this? I'm making it up. It's not like I'm, drawing other. I mean, we live in a climate now where a lot of artists are just redrawing other people's art. So, I have to chill out about that. And so, we all bring our own insecurities to the table, right? So, all right. So that's 4 sketches in about 30 minutes. 1, 2, 3, 4. About 10 minutes each, right? That's a great way to start the day, don't you think? Don't you think? All right, everybody. Give yourselves a round of applause. I'm going to make these silhouettes available for you to also download, print out, trace over, whatever you'd like to do. Feel free to share them on Instagram with me at SketchCraft or Twitter. These are just random poses, Aaron. These are warm-up. These are developing poses. So I'm going to head out of here and get back to work. So I'll be streaming in a little bit with some more specific stuff. So good. Sketches at breakfast, everybody. See you soon. Bye. Sketches at breakfast. It's warming up time. Peace.